Hey, good friends of YouTube, welcome back to the channel. We're back here with our 2011 Equinox. Some of you guys have asked for an update on this. If you remember correctly, in a previous video, we did a quick fix on the PCV valve orifice that's inside the intake manifold, and I think some of you are really curious to know what's happened since then. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on this, and also we're going to do something to this car too, so stay tuned.
Warning, I am not an expert. Everything in this video was most likely done wrong after many failures and a few stitches. Don't try any of this at home.
Dad, did you shoot the shop?
No? Okay, don't tell Mom.
So for those of you that have been longtime subscribers here, you will remember one of my very first videos was this 2011 Equinox. This is my son's car. He drives it to and from college. He is back for Thanksgiving right now, so I thought this would be a good time to do an update. If you'll remember correctly, we bought this car in December of last year, so almost a year ago. Right away, we had an issue where my son was driving it, check engine light came on, determined that it was really low on oil. It also destroyed the timing belt tensioner. So the timing belt had to be replaced, or the timing chain had to be replaced. The tensioner had to be replaced. All that had to be done. And yeah, it was a big mess. After that scenario happened, we realized pretty quickly that it was consuming 1 quart every 300 miles, and that's why we were having the issue. So didn't know anything about these 2.4 Ecotechs. And come to find out, this is a common problem on these vehicles. And there's two areas that it could be. One is this clogged PCV valve orifice, which in my previous video, we did a correction on that. And the second area is the low tension rings. After we did the PCV valve orifice fix on this vehicle, I can tell you we have not had the issue that we were having before, which was 1 quart every 300 miles. It jumped up to 1 quart every about 1,200 miles. It's worse on the highway than it is, you know, just around town driving around. So my son, every gas fill up, he adds a little bit of oil to it, and that's been getting us along just fine. So I wanted to give that update, but I also, since I've got it in here, I thought, well, let's try something. DIY Dave out there in YouTube land has a video on using B12 Chem Tool to free some rings that are on his Toyota Corolla. He had some pretty good success with it. So I wanted to give that a try here on this car because we are still consuming oil about 1 quart every 1,200 miles. So I just want to try that and see what that does to the car. So I'll walk you through that process. I'm gonna do it just a little bit different than he did it, but I'll show you everything that's involved in that. So stay tuned. All right, so I've already had this car apart because I've been working on it, but I thought I'd just show you real quick what I usually do. Normally, I will take the drain plug out of the oil pan, and then while that's draining, I'll come up here and take this off the hose clamp here, go into the air filter box, and also the clamp down here to the throttle body, and then this will pull right off. And then next up, we will take off this panel here. All you got to do is take the fuel cap off, or not the fuel cap, the oil fill cap, and then this will remove right here. And with all that off, then I will just go down here, and right underneath this little heat shield there's our little fix right there that we put in. You can see it right there. I will take that little screw out, just takes a second, and then I'll put the safety wire down in there, clear the hole out. I'll also spray it with a little carb cleaner. So let's do that real quick. Okay, as I mentioned, this is pretty easy. I'm trying to get in here so you guys can see it. We'll just take an Allen wrench. We'll take this little screw out. I'll take some carbon choke cleaner and I'll squirt it down into that hole. Should clear it out pretty good. Then guys, last thing we're going to do here is we're going to take our safety wire, just get down into the hole. There we go. Just going to feel around until it slips in there. You'll know when it slips in, it'll go pretty quick. There it is. I just slipped in there. Okay, and she was clear. I didn't feel anything hard in there. So she's all the way in. She's clean. Nothing's on there. And just last but not least, I'll just squirt a little bit more in there. And like I said, this is just a carbon choke cleaner. And then last up, we'll take our screw. We're just going to put a little bit of RTV on here so it doesn't leak. I had a lot of questions about just putting a screw right into the manifold, into that hole, versus doing what I did here with the JB Weldon stuff. And the only caution I would give, I mean, that probably just works fine. In my case, it gets really cold here. In fact, today we're in single digits. Had about 6 inches of snow last night. And I was concerned about the expansion and contraction of the different materials, the plastic intake versus the metal screw being threaded right into the hole. And for me, I was just worried that that would cause a crack. So, you know, that's why I put this nut on here the way I did in that first video. I just screw that nut down until it bottoms out. I don't tighten it down. That's why the RTV is there. Just bottom it out because I don't want to put any undue stress on it, but it hasn't leaked. We've had 0 issues with this. So the last thing we'll do here is I'm just going to pull this off. And then I just want to make sure it's clear. I don't want any water down in there or something. So we're just going to take this carbon choke cleaner. I'm going to spray it through the tube here. I'll do that off camera, but just make sure it's clear and there's no water in there that can freeze up. Now that that's done, I'm going to stick it back in here. And again, I just don't want any water condensation freezing up that line. That'll cause you some issues also. And last thing here, we're going to take the airbox duct connector here. I'm going to make sure there's no water in here. We're just going to tip it over and make sure there's no water in there. So anyway, that's it. That's the entire process for my oil changes. Okay, so we'll be doing the last process here, which is to do the B12 chem tool in each of the cylinders. All I've done at this point is I have removed the coil pack by disconnecting the coil pack from the system, pulling out the coil pack, and then removing the spark plug. All the spark plugs are out right now. And the process that I'm going to use here is I'm just going to take my little funnel here, put it down into the cylinder. There she goes. And then we're going to add 1 ounce of B12 chem tool to each of the cylinders. So I will go ahead and do that now. I like to use this little, I think this might be made out of Pyrex. I'm not really sure. I think I got it at Walmart. This B12 is a solvent, so I don't know. Just make sure the plastic doesn't get damaged at all. And now that we've got that in there, we're going to just going to take this towel and put it right over the top here. Just keep anything from falling down in there. So in 12 hours, next time you see me, we're going to go ahead and turn the motor over and work that into the rings once it's had a chance to go down in there. All right, it has been 12 hours. Now we need to turn the motor over, but before we do that, we need to turn off the fuel pump so it doesn't pump fuel into that. In my case, there is a fuse right here, which is 46, which controls the CCM. That's responsible for turning the fuel pump on and off. I just pulled that fuse so we're not pumping fuel down in there. So anyway, let's go ahead and turn it over and get this done. Okay, so now this thing is sat for 12 hours. We just want to turn it over and work the rings a little bit. So we'll do that now. Okay, done. Okay, so we've just turned over the engine and I wanted to show you guys this. So take a look here. You can see right here, this is cylinder 2. It is different from the other cylinders. They're not leaving a mess on there. So I'm not sure if the rings are better here on number 2 and it's pushing it back up through this, or or what, but it is different, so that's interesting to know. Anyway, I'm just logging that in the back of my head. Now that we have finished turning it over, I'm going to go ahead and add an ounce to each of these, just like we did before, and then we'll let it sit another 12 hours. We'll do this for 3 days, and then we'll be ready for the next step. So we're just about done here. This is the 3rd day and the last turnover, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Oh, I did want to show you guys something here. Check this out. Ha ha ha! See here? It appears that these other ones have opened up now, I think. I'm seeing black spots for 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know what that means. Maybe the rings are better? I don't know, but you guys saw it before, so yeah, I've got a here, 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 and here, all 4. Okay, what we need to do now, so I want to put a little lube down those cylinders. The cylinders are probably pretty dry, would be my guess, washed down from all the solvent being down in there. So what I'm going to do here is just spray a little lube down there. I'm going to use something really light because it's pretty darn cold out today. So I'm just using some chain lube actually. PB Blaster, something like that would work too. But we'll just squirt this right on down in there. Okay. Now that we've got that light lube in there, I'm going to cover this back up. We'll turn it over again and work that in there a little bit so she's ready to start. Also want to make sure the cylinders are completely clear of any fluids. Okay, that should be good. See there? Black, 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 black. All 4 cylinders are now showing something. I think that's pretty positive. Okay, while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and replace these spark plugs. They've got almost 90,000 miles on them. Might as well do it while we're here. Okay, 4 new plugs are all gapped to 036. Let's go ahead and get these installed. What I'm going to do now is just take a minute to clean the top of the valve cover there. So go ahead and reinstall these coil packs. There's a 10mm bolt here that holds each of these on. All right, so next up we'll plug in the coil packs here. Normally I would put dielectric grease in here, but for some reason I have totally misplaced my dielectric grease. So there are gaskets on here that should keep it waterproof, but you really should put some dielectric grease into all your electrical connections. Okay, that's done. While we're here, let's go ahead and check the oil. That Berryman's B12 would have worked its way down into the crankcase. So I'm just going to see how much we've got in there. Okay, just looking at it, it is now at the full line, so that's good. Let's wipe this off and check it one more time. This particular dipstick's kind of hard to read, honestly, if I'm being honest. But it looks like it's full. What I'll do sometimes, and you guys probably do this too, is I'll lay it on here and just roll it over and see where it lines up. And it is lining up to the full mark. So, okay, we're good there. Means I've got about a quarter quart of Berryman's B12 in here. Now, Berryman's does not recommend that you run this in the crankcase. However, we're going to deviate a little bit. On the video for DIY Dave, he actually runs the Berryman B12, I think, for 20 minutes going down the highway. I don't want to do that. I'm going to run the Berryman's B12 just at idle for 20 minutes like engine flush. Then we're going to do an oil change. And as part of that oil change, I'm going to go back in there with the Seafoam. The Seafoam is rated for the motor and can be driven with it in there. My hope is that that will continue to work on those oil control rings that are on the piston. So that's my plan. Let me go ahead and now that we've checked the oil, let's go ahead and put this back together. So just sit back and enjoy. Okay, we're pretty much back together. Don't forget to plug this back in right here into the side. It just snaps right back in. The last thing we need to do is reinstall our fuse right here for the fuel pump. Okay, that's in. And I'll just clean the top of this here. While I'm in here, I'm just going to double check the radiator fluid, and it looks good there. So, okay, we're all set here. Let's move on to the next step. All right, we are all set to start. Let's see if she'll start up. She don't want to start. We're almost there. Woo, she's smoking. All right, we're gonna let that run for 20 minutes. We let it idle for 20 minutes. Now I'm just replacing the fuel filter. Ooh, look at that black gunky thing. I don't see any metal particles or anything like that in there, so that's good. We'll go ahead and don't forget to replace this seal here. So we'll do that. I'll get this back in. All right, new seal's installed. I lubed it up. Get this bad boy back down in here. This oil filter housing is particularly hard to get to. I don't know if I like them or not, like this or the old school ones. That takes a 32 millimeter socket. You got to put an elbow on it. It's messy. But you do want to get it down there good, or you'll have a leak. All right, all that's left to do is to get some oil down in there. Okay, I'm gonna leave about a half a quart out of there. The last thing we're gonna do here is I'm gonna use the Seafoam high mileage. I'm going to put 5 ounces, 5 quarts, so 1 ounce per quart. I'm going to drop 5 ounces in here. We're going to run with this over the next probably 1,000 miles and do another oil change. What we're going to do now is we are going to head down the road, and we're going to set this at a high RPMs for 20 miles. So we'll go ahead and sit down the road. I'm going to just put it in manual mode and probably set the gearing down a little bit and run 65 at a higher RPM. All right, guys, so we're cruising down the highway right now. We're running about 60 miles an hour, 5,000 RPMs. I'm going to do this for about 20 miles or so. Got a lot of snow. Roads are at least clearing up, so nice day for a drive. We're going to see if this will help those rings break loose by running it hard. I'm going to watch the temperature here. So we're all done here with the 2011 Equinox. Just a quick recap. What we did here is we used the Berryman's D12 Chem Tool into each cylinder, 1 ounce, and then we let it sit for 12 hours and run the starter for a little bit, then put another ounce in, and then waited another 12 hours and did it again. We did that a total of 6 times over 3 days, every 12 hours. After that, I put some new plugs in it, made sure all the cylinders were flushed out, and then also put a little oil in the cylinder. Just some chainsaw lube is what I ended up using. And then made sure the cylinders were cleared out. We went ahead and started it up, and there was residual B12 Chem Tool down in the crankcase. With that, we ran it for 20 minutes, just like a typical engine flush. Then I did a complete oil change. I added 5 ounces of the Seafoam high mileage, which is rated to be run inside the crankcase. And then we took the car for a ride, 25 miles at a high RPM of 5,000 RPMs. Hopefully that will help, you know, run the engine hard and break those rings up and any remaining carbon deposits. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's where we're at right now. My son's going to be back in 3 weeks, and he should put around 1,000 miles on the car between now and then. So when he gets back, we'll take a look at it and see where we're at, and then we'll decide if this really did anything for us. So I'm hoping that we have a reduction in oil consumption, but we will soon see, so stay tuned. Hey guys, just wanted to give you a really quick update here. So my son made it to Lincoln, and as luck would have it, he used exactly the same amount of oil, 1/4 of a quart on that trip back. Nothing has changed at all. I'm not even going to wait 3 weeks. We'll just go ahead and get this video posted. So I think what we're going to have to do is do a compression test and leak down test and just see if we can narrow down where the issue's coming from on that deal. You know, this only cost me $15 in a little bit of time, so it was no big deal at all, but I wanted to try it. Do look out for a video that will come out on the Ford, the 67 F250. I think I'm gonna do exactly the same process on it and just see if we can do something there. So in this case, the B12 Chem Tool and the Seafoam really didn't do anything for us. I have no advantages at all, but I'm willing to try it again. So if you liked what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time.